this way.
Hi.
Hi, Carrie.
How are you?
I'm great.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to my little incubator.
I love it.
This is what you do in dance class.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They grab the guy by the tie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut the door because
Okay,
it is
great.
a little chilly. If you get cold, too warm, let me know. So, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So
This is
excited to
really
have
cool.
you here.
Yeah.
It's very, very fun for me.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's fun for
it's
me too. It's been really cool interviewing people and seeing and learning so much about the different styles of art.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Learning about different people.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for doing this because it's kind of, I put a couple things up that weren't up.
Oh, okay.
And basically, I'll just start off kind of trying to briefly tell you guys, you and others, where I'm at right now. I've been realizing just lately, I have things I've been making my entire life.
Yeah.
And back here, I started when I was a little kid. I taught myself how to draw.
Can I step on
You
this?
can definitely step on this. I taught myself how to draw from album covers. There's an album cover under here.
Oh,
and there's a book down on the floor. So I had this
beautiful
urge to use pencils, whatever I had around, and keep myself like just engaged.
Yeah.
And fast forward, I just kept drawing and painting and making clay objects throughout my life up till right now. I have this intense, apparently, need to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know why way back when. So, like right now, it's really probably obvious that I have some intense relationship with nature. I'm looking out there, like I feel so lucky. There are trees and birds and owls and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, I
that
love owls.
I wasn't always around, but it still drives me.
Yeah.
I realized I want to have a relationship with nature, a deep one.
Yeah.
And I feel so like separate sometimes. So I think that's why I started drawing. I'm like, I want to get to know that thing. And
Right.
in my little mind, I was doing that and I just kept doing it.
How old were you? Like as long as you can remember?
Well, that definitely when I was a little, like 5-year-old, I did those. I won't show you those, but I think that was around 10 years old.
You're kidding me.
10 to 12. I looked at illustrations and I was like, I have a pencil.
Arms.
I might not have been 10. I might have been older. I just don't remember. But the urge was always there.
Right.
And drawing was a thing because it was cheap. My mom helped me with, we weren't too wealthy, so she helped me with some paints and clay and stuff. But I just want to say, I just have this need for it. And I've gone through long periods of time without doing any of it for good reasons, like raising 3 sons. I did go to a school named Rhode Island School of Design.
Okay.
And it was like, talk about an incubator. It was the best 4 years, I think, of my life, aside from my kids. Because it was just a bunch of students and teachers who were like a little kooky.
Cookie's great.
And I felt at home because of that.
Yeah.
But really interested in pushing, like pushing the boundaries. We were encouraged to push boundaries and show mostly all visual things, physical and 3D, 2D. So it was just a great time to be around people who weren't afraid. And I think I started to recognize that some of the drawings that I've done, the reason I was drawing was because I couldn't quite express myself with words too easily in my worlds, like where I grew up, etc.
Right.
It's hard for me to do, whereas I could just kind of let loose. So that became
Your outlet.
an outlet, but I didn't know it at the time.
Right.
And you deal with kids a lot, and I just think there are natural ways to express yourself that you'll just kind of find, and it's like a river.
Whether it's picking up a guitar or, it's communication, right?
definitely communication and wanting to express yourself wherever you are. So, so I just want to point out the thing that I've noticed is I started painting like as an observer.
Oh, wow.
I have, so much other work, but this is what I have right now.
And what
from my
medium is
past.
this?
That's oil. Those are oil paints.
How big is the original?
They are this size.
That size.
I made
Oh.
small,
So
a bunch of
you
small
really got in there.
landscapes. And so I was an observer there.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here, later on, I started doing similar, like trees, birds, plants, still like a landscape, but I just went wild with charcoal. And I started to realize afterward that was my inner world.
Oh.
Kind of, and maybe it freaks people out, but I just had an ability to do that, and I did it and didn't really show anybody.
Wow, it's beautiful.
And then fast forward here, trying to make this short for you.
No, don't make it short. Look at that.
Okay, so this is like a combination of my inner world and my landscapes, but kind of up close. So I'm in my house.
Isn't that
When
beautiful?
I sleep, I sometimes get woken up by the moon just shining in my face.
I do too. I can't sleep on full moons. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I was just talking to someone else about that, like how women are so affected by full moons, and I get terrible sleep on full moons. I have very active dreams, and
same. There's got to be something.
There does, yeah.
So this is the something that I'm kind of seeking.
Ah.
So after that, a couple times waking up with the moon right there, and there's a little owl in the tree that is just incredibly soothing.
Like a real owl?
A real owl.
Really?
Yeah, in my yard.
Wow.
Yeah. In California, I'm like, oh my God, I'm blown away by this.
Wow.
So I just kind of wanted to kind of have the moon really, it affected me. I wanted to have the moon near me. This is an impossibility.
Oh, I see the moon now.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be just a discovery painting. No, you might not. That's kind of like.
And then there's more feathers here that don't belong to the owl. Who are those?
Well, this is actually part of the barred owl.
Oh, it is?
Barn owl, not barred. Barn owl.
Oh, he's so pretty.
These guys are the ones that I think are in my yard.
And this is oil as well?
This is acrylic. I
Acrylic,
wanted to learn how to do acrylic too. I thought it was less toxic. Anyway.
Is that a raven or a crow?
That's a crow.
Beautiful.
So this is a sister painting that I haven't finished. And I was thinking, can I have the sun? And I'm going to cover all this up somehow because I wasn't
Really?
happy.
I love it.
You do? Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad to know your opinion.
Yeah, it's
Because
really.
I'm in this mood,
beautiful.
like I'm going to just paint all that thing out.
Oh.
And I don't know what I'm going to do.
So what do you use things for reference? Do you pencil it in first? What's your process?
I do a lot of drawing, as you can probably tell.
Right.
So let me just mention the kind of drawing that I kind of like to do for establishing in black and white the form that I'm interested in. So I found this in some shop. And again,
I thought you were going to say I found it like in a field or something.
No, but people do around here.
Yeah.
A lot of Californians have these things in their barns.
Oh, wow. Look at the teeth on that.
I know.
Wow.
My son said, don't show the teeth.
Oh, I like the teeth.
You do?
Yeah, well, but I like weird things.
Oh, okay. Well, I just was looking at this and just staring at it and feeling it going, oh my God, like what made that? Who made that? What made that? How is that possible that that's made, we're made, you're made, and by something?
Right.
I will say I'm not religious. I don't use God and the word in the way that most people do. I'm very interested in consciousness.
Me too.
So just to shorten it up, I drew that, and I kind of felt like it felt alive to me.
Yes.
So I did what I could, and then I did a series of skulls.
No, is this a pencil rendering and charcoal?
No,
or
it's just charcoal.
it's all charcoal.
Yeah, all of these
Holy
are.
smokes. Oh, wow.
And I have many more. I did a whole series hoping I could draw the real animals someday. But I got sidetracked by birds and trees and plants. So getting back to your question, my process often is draw the things that I love. Maybe I can incorporate them later on in a painting or a drawing, or my clay work. I am like so fascinated with the idea that like charcoal are burnt twigs.
Are you kidding? I had no idea what
They're
charcoal.
branches that they're burnt,
Oh.
and that's what they are. And it's very powdery.
Uh-huh.
And
I didn't
paper
know that.
is wood pulp
Right.
from trees. So I get really into, I'm using these actual
Pieces of nature.
natural materials to render those things. I have a picture of a big tree charcoal painting that the light was like all over the place. I can show that to you if you
Sure.
want. You want to see that?
Yeah,
Quick?
I'll see anything you've got.
Okay.
Oh, it's on your computer.
It's on my computer.
Yeah,
I don't-
maybe email it to me later. Or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the same with clay.
Uh-huh.
It's mud. It's freaking mud.
Oh yeah, true.
And it's so fun to just sit there. I often don't know what I'm making when I start. And I don't want to say it talks to me because that's not really accurate. I just kind of feel it. And it has its own mind. It will pop back. If you move it somehow, sometimes it pops back and it wants to be a different shape or you can't force it.
So it's a relationship with the clay.
Definitely.
And you're talking to each other. So you're
talking-
listening to what the clay is telling
with my
you.
body
Right.
and my mind.
Right.
And, these are fiddlehead ferns. I don't know if you've ever seen those crazy.
Oh, I love those kind of
Ferns.
ferns. I can't keep them alive though.
I never had them in my yard, but I love them.
They're hard to keep alive.
That's what I hear. You can try and grow them?
I've tried and failed. So
Oh wow. Okay. Well, we just keep
you
trying.
might have better luck.
I don't think so. I'm kind of brown thummy. For someone who's so into nature, I'm not really a gardener, but I'm learning here.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat.
So these are, parts of birds, and there's a whole series, White Collection, that has some of these decorative elements are based on Norwegian. I'm part Norwegian. I'm very tied to Norwegian attitudes.
So is it similar to Celtic then?
It is very similar. Those two got together, the Vikings and the pre-Vikings,
Oh, okay.
and
Is that your heritage?
the Irish. I'm mostly Norwegian,
Uh-huh.
so that enters into a lot of my work
Uh-huh.
that might not be very visible here. So, just like again, like the idea that I made this thing with clay and it was just working with me,
Yeah.
and then you fire it like it's like an element. It's like fired really hot.
It's like an
Makes it-
alchemist. You're playing with all the different.
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
word.
Uh-huh.
That's a great word.
Yeah.
That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
So, my practice is kind of done over time, because I raised 3 boys. That was a long period. I loved it. Very
Yeah.
intense. And they're part of nature too.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing.
Right.
And I really wanted to just keep my hand in this stuff. So I drew a lot. I keep
Oh, neat.
little records of ideas or feelings
Wow.
and stuff like that. Little ways when I don't have much time. I do a lot of color studies, like this painting down there of my one kind of a color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just wanted to understand it more, and I wanted to have just more control over my color. So I read books about it, and there's some books over here. Color isn't what everyone thinks it is, and another like fascinating science to delve into.
Yeah.
And then let it integrate into my thinking and use it in my paintings where I'm popping things. And so it's like this never-ending challenge at problem solving, which
Yeah.
is I love it. It's hard. It's not always happy.
Right.
And it's just like when I finish, I'm like, just stop. It's done and let it be.
So
Move on.
You're processing something and getting it out. Then.
Yeah. I'm processing something, getting it out. And sometimes, it doesn't have a great conclusion. I don't really know.
Yeah. As life, right?
That it's just,
Yeah.
it's life. It's a way I'm processing life.
Yes.
Life's hard.
It is. This school is not easy. We did not pick an easy school this time around.
What do you mean?
I feel like this is a school. I feel like we're here to learn lessons and when we die we graduate. So I feel like
That's
it's all a process.
A novel way to look at it. I hadn't heard that before.
Oh really?
No.
Yeah.
But that makes sense
Yeah.
because that's what I feel like I'm doing.
And then the lessons are repeated until they're learned, right? And you're like, oh God, this one again. I guess I haven't learned this.
Definitely.
And they just show up in different ways or different forms, but it's the same lesson until you learn it. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Because I'm a transcendental meditator, and there's some people who did Vedic astrology for me, and she was laughing, going, "Oh, you're going through another Saturn period."
Oh.
And she said it's kind of like you're a diamond and they're being ground. You're being ground up, and you're going to come out with that's. So that's what you're talking about. I didn't fully understand what she meant.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating
Huh.
because I feel like that's kind of what's happened with me.
I love that.
And I mean, I can talk some more, but just what I feel right now is there's something brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And so to wrap it up, I'm just like trying to figure out what to do next. I may work on that, but I feel like there's something. I'm taking a break on my ceramics for a bunch of different reasons. I used to work in the Berkeley Potter Studio, huge, gorgeous, awesome studio where you could just get anything. So I might be taking a break, although downstairs I have a little like workshop there where I can show that to you if you have time, but where I'm just making slip cast clay pieces. These are slip casts. I make a mold out of plaster and pour the liquid.
Oh, that's fascinating. And then how are the larger ones made?
They're all by hand. I roll out slabs. Even
Holy smokes.
These are all slab built.
You're kidding.
No.
Same with the black one that you donated?
Yes. The black, actually, the black, that
It's
black
so
one
perfect.
was, thank you. Those were really thick coils. That was black mountain clay, which is not these. It's
Okay.
like this brownish clay. And it was so like sandy. Like ancient people did that technique, so I just was trying it.
How did you learn all this stuff?
Okay, so I didn't have any money.
That's kind
At
of a
one
theme with
point-
artists. And
It's cost so much money.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to just keep going to school, and I didn't know how to make the money back. So I ended up applying for a ceramic assistant job with a guy named Jonathan Adler,
Okay.
who's really famous. I sound like I'm name dropping. I'm not. I'm just describing him.
Yeah.
Famous potter who ended up being a famous kind of glamorous interior designer.
Oh, okay.
But he was known for starting pottery. And I just applied for an assistant job because I couldn't afford a master's in ceramics. I had tried it a little bit, and they hired me. I still don't know
Wow.
how.
Well,
that
it was
happened.
it was your path.
It was my path. So 10 years apart, I worked for a year. I had to make more money for my kids, so I had to stop that. Then 10 years later, I worked for him for a year again.
Oh.
And kind of tried to hone this.
Yeah.
And while I was in New York that time, I went to a studio and tried to learn how to build like my own. It was a studio you pay for.
Right.
And I just learned how to do slabs and all these techniques. I didn't take
So they had
any
teachers
lessons.
at the studio then?
No.
Oh,
So
a lot of trial and
I
error.
think a lot of trial and error,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's some kind of affinity I have for clay.
Mm.
It's just like you in dancing.
Right.
You have like I don't have the affinity you have. I love it,
Mm-hmm.
but you know I think I had some kind of affinity for clay and charcoal and pencil, maybe paint too. So I learned that way.
Right.
Just you work around your obstacles. Again, getting back to the kids that you're supporting.
Uh-huh.
Just do it, and if you have to stop, you have to stop. And if you're like longing for it, you're gonna find a way,
Oh yeah.
right?
It's
and
coming
you
together.
just keep at it
Yeah.
the best you can. And sometimes people just like, whoo, it go wild. So then when I moved here, I had the opportunity to join a studio and really just play.
Oh neat.
And-
Where was your studio?
That was in Berkeley, the
Oh, in
Berkeley
Berkeley.
Potter Studio.
So where did you move from then? You were in the East Coast?
I was on the East Coast, mostly in the New York metro area first.
And is that where you raised your boys then?
Right outside New York City,
Oh,
in
okay.
Connecticut,
Uh-huh.
but we commuted for jobs
Oh.
to New York.
Uh-huh.
So that was years and years. And
Wow.
then I moved back to Rhode Island where I went to college, kind of hoping, my kids have all launched,
Uh-huh.
I was kind of hoping for like a burst of creativity or something I was searching for. I was a makerspace teacher there. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not really familiar
They're-
with that.
Makerspace, it's like,
I've heard of
they
it.
have them here,
Uh-huh.
Ace Makerspace. They're for kids and adults where you make anything you have in your mind. I taught coding. I was a coder. I was self-taught coder.
Wow, so you've got
messy
equally
coder.
left brain as
I
you are
do,
right brain, yeah.
Which is a problem sometimes.
Which is why you've got numbers over on your.
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
So makerspace teachers, my main job was to teach design thinking and how to make something out of nothing. And they could I taught them about coding and using little machines you can code, plus sewing, plus painting, plus drawing, whatever they wanted, build something out of cardboard. And the idea is to make prototypes. So you make prototypes first before you make the final thing. In my case, I started making kind of full-size prototypes. Yeah, so but at Jonathan Adler's, I wish I could show you those pictures they made. We, as a group, there was a super talented assistant there. He was the main guy that worked with Jonathan. He was very gifted. So watching him make all these little maquettes, tiny, and then making them into 3 foot high in the kiln we had there, I had to learn how to, use a kiln. So I kind of had a mentor with Eddie, the assistant. So that's kind of how I learned how to do it.
And I love how you have the dollars and cents here too, with all the numbers.
Well, yes. I don't want to, I'm just going to say.
You're attracting money?
I mean, have you ever heard of the Zen pots? It's an Asian, I have to say Asian because I don't know if it's Chinese, Japanese. They're little beautiful basket or in pot shapes where you throw coins in and you put it in the feng shui way somewhere and it's supposed to bring
attract
wealth.
money.
And this was supposed to be tongue in cheek because everybody's struggling now.
Right.
And
That's
I'm like, well, maybe if you buy this and put it in your corner, you can have.
Yeah.
And actually there was one, I don't know if she was Indian or Chinese, frankly. We didn't get to that, but she bought it for the top of her piano, another piece that I could show you. And then last thing, Carrie, I
love how
did
you say
learn-
my name. You say it like you're from New York.
I do,
Yeah.
Carrie.
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 Yeah.
How do you say it?
Well, people in California say Carrie. And,
Carrie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they say,
How
"Oh, you're
do you-
saying your name wrong." Well, it's just like in New York they'll say Carrie,
Carrie.
and British people do that too. They differentiate.
Right.
But in California, Carrie and Carrie are Carrie and Kerry are pronounced the same. So when people say, "Are you Carrie or Carrie?" and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you prefer?
Oh, I love that you just whatever. I don't have a preference, but
I've been trying to get rid of my accent.
no, I love it. I love it.
Carrie.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great.
So I did want to just mention too, like I use dance as painting. So
Oh,
I'll just show you a tiny little bit of this. So I used fans, veils, other things to create shapes, again, to express how I feel.
wow. Gorgeous. I love it.
So
Incredible.
moving my body too, that's like I started learning dance late in life and didn't realize that's another way to process emotions.
Absolutely.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate what you do for us because, well, when you get oh look, I got emotional. When you get used to your choreography and you're flowing, and then we're just trying to pick it up. It's really good for our minds, and we have to concentrate. It's like this: you practice first,
Right.
and then eventually you'll get
You can get into
more
that flow
fluid
state.
with
Yeah.
it, into the flow state. So
Yeah.
I don't anticipate I'm going to ever get there with dance because it's too late in many ways.
No,
but that's okay.
that's a
It's still-
story you're telling yourself. You can absolutely get to a flow state. Yes.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping. I shouldn't say that. I have little joint problems. Anyway, that's another story. So, did I answer most of your questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I love how these little guys show up kind of throughout. Do you have, are they your spirit animals? Do you believe in that kind of stuff?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So the owl, the crow.
I have so many friends who say, you know, Susan, whenever I see a crow, guess who I think of?
Oh, they're so smart.
They're incredibly smart.
Yes.
And I experienced here, I think they can recognize us. I know
yeah,
they can.
They have facial recognition.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So when I used to drive, I lived in another rental not too far from here. When I used to drive into the driveway, there would be these two crows that would swoop in and just kind of
come
peck
say hi to
around
you.
and say hi. Yeah. I think I do love them because they're scrappy. They're everywhere.
And resourceful, right?
They're resourceful.
Yeah.
They're smart. Some people think they're kind of dark and creepy. Well, we all
love
have
that.
dark side. And I think they're also very funny. I just love to watch them, and they are geniuses when it comes to opening. Like this is a walnut tree. They open stuff.
They use tools that
They
like
use
3-step processes even. I saw this thing called The Murder of Crows. I think it was
Yes.
a documentary.
Yes.
Wasn't that fascinating?
Fascinating.
I've watched it a few times.
Yeah.
Like they are so smart, and they, that is the facial recognition. And then they give warning calls to the other crows if they see someone that they feel is danger. And yeah.
Definitely. I saw another recent documentary about them in tandem with that one.
Okay.
That was saying that AI, I have mixed emotions about AI.
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah. Everyone does. I think,
right?
Yeah.
They're trying to, they think they've kind of nailed down a language. They think they might be recognizing crow language. And they said, if you are worried about surveillance, I don't know if this was a joke. If you're worried about surveillance with cameras and AI technology, look at those trees. They're surveying you all the time. They even have, they think names for people or a person with hat or, something that's more specific than what we might think.
You never know.
So we don't know. Okay,
I
so
totally believe it. I mean, you think of fungi. You saw that. I don't know if you saw
Oh,
that
yes, I
documentary
did.
about the communication with. Yeah.
Yes.
So the fact that crows can communicate, and I absolutely believe they
trees.
can.
I-
Yes.
actually-
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is why I just keep sticking with this
Mm-hmm.
subject, I guess you'll call it. There's something going on there, and I want to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had scientific background. I read about this stuff like you are, or I watch videos.
Yeah, me too.
And the fact that there are mother trees, and underneath the ground, through fungi, they're sending medicine to other trees. And I mean, how amazing is that?
We could really learn from nature, couldn't we?
We could
Yeah.
learn. We should
Mm-hmm.
learn from nature. That's
You are learning from nature.
I'm
That's
learning
what this whole process is about for you.
There's some quote which I forget right now, but it's the gist of it is if you are paying attention, you're honoring some part of the natural world. So that's what I feel I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, it's self-fulfilling, is that the right word? It's really good for the self, myself. But also I'm a communicator. I was a designer, I'm a graphic designer, I'm a communicator. So I kind of do want to connect with other people who care. And painting is a way to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm learning that, and by these interviews, so many people are saying similar things, and there's like a spiritual undercurrent of everything that's going on for people that are in touch with it. I'll send you the video of a woman named Lissa that I just interviewed recently, and I think she's really in touch with the shadow self, and she's an amazing artist, and I think you guys would really, really connect.
It helps us become better humans. Like we call it the shadow self. There's so many coverings that we have to
peel back, so to speak.
Yeah, depending. Like I did those drawings to soothe myself. I didn't know it at the time, but those little drawings of the like those dogs. That story moved me so much, and I just felt compelled to just kind of figure out who those animals were, and someone wrote an imaginative story about them. And I'm not really a storyteller with words. I'm not.
But you are with your art.
But I am with my art. So, yeah.
This one's beautiful too.
That is just so. That came out of.
Look at the pottery in the background too.
That's when the pottery started to show up, and these little ribbons. I guess I was doing, the 6-pack. They don't do. I don't think they use them anymore.
Oh, I remember that because and then they said the turtles' heads got caught
stuck on them.
Mm.
So I think that was about water. Some of the pieces, the prints in your auction,
yes,
they are about water in some way and futuristic. Like, what are we thinking?
Are you a water sign?
Yes, I'm a Cancer.
I
mean, I never thought of that either.
Bingo.
Because I studied watersheds and did posters for kids on how to recognize watersheds in your area and how the water flows. That was a long time ago. I did that. I guess it's a common. Never thought about that.
And then the high priestess energy too, like in the tarot where she's got her toe in the beginning of the river, and then the river just flows through the entire deck. If you notice it, you'll be able to kind of see it.
What is that? Is it a story?
Yeah. I'll share some of that with you.
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah, because you definitely have that high priestess energy too.
You're bringing up a lot of very interesting points for me because I've got, like I mentioned, of coding mathematical side. Is that this side? That side?
Left. yeah, that's the right side.
And
no, that's the.
it might
that's
be the other,
correct
right.
side, not the right
that's
side.
Right. Anyway, I think I really delve into that super logical, people would say at work, you're so analytical, Susan. Oh my gosh. I was so did not want people to think that I have this
Woo-woo.
freewheeling
Yeah.
woo-woo side, because it sometimes is considered, it's not considered well.
Well,
by
it
certain
wasn't
people.
safe to show that part of yourself
It wasn't safe.
in that environment,
Right.
anyways. Yeah.
So, but we all know on some level
Yeah.
there's this magnificent creation going on all the time that we're not in charge of,
Right.
but we're deeply part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm trying actually right now, like something's happening where I'm trying to free myself up and not worry about judgment so much, because I have been judged. And
Judgment by others or self-judgment?
started by others, and it became self-judgment,
Yep.
which I'm trying to really work on.
Yeah.
And like even those landscapes in Connecticut, I wanted to make sure that I didn't do anything too crazy, so that my in-laws and my ex-husband, who's passed away, so I don't want to, talk badly about him. He didn't even I had them up on the wall, like I was learning, and he didn't even say anything. And I thought, this is like it's a landscape of pretty Connecticut.
Right.
This should be okay. And I was really judged, like this kind of thing with big black drawings of my inner self.
Right.
Kind of like, whoa, don't show that. There are a few people in my life that weren't too happy about that.
Huh.
But as life
That's
has
unfortunate for them.
it seemed I didn't realize that they were limiting themselves. I had to grow,
That's what it is. So their self-limitation, and it doesn't reflect
Yeah.
anything about you. I mean, maybe he didn't see the art because he didn't have that appreciation or that
I think-
connection with the nature,
I think
which is sad.
it's really sad.
Yeah.
He was a great sailor, so I know he and his father were really into nature in that way, so I was confused. But anyway, I'm still exploring what it all is, and I'm so curious. What makes this stuff? Why am I doing this? It's kind of just like, it's a drive. It's like some kind of human drive to connect.
Yep.
So spirituality can be a word that's kind of hard to describe, and I think it's individual.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's why, getting back to your work with the foundation, it's a really important thing for all human beings. And not everybody has an opportunity
Right.
to explore, because there's some techniques, right? Certain techniques, like with dance or music. But I'm getting goosebumps because it's like it keeps you so in the present, like it forces you in the present. I have a hard time with that.
Interesting.
I'm worried about the future. I feel bad about some of my past, but I keep trying to stay in the present. When I'm doing that, I'm right there. I'm like, I can't.
That's how I am with dance. 100%.
sure.
Yeah.
Hello,
moment.
little kitty cat.
Oh, who's this? Hi, baby. Is it yours?
No.
I'm
He's
a
feral.
cat person.
Oh,
big
he's
time.
like, I don't know where he's going. He often sits I'm growing peas, and he likes to sit in that pot.
Oh, what a cutie.
There are a couple of, I don't know if they're feral, but they don't have collars on, cats around here.
Yeah.
So, little visitors.
And
And I used to dance Saturday morning. Am I going on too long?
No,
You can edit this down, right? if
Yeah,
you
but I
want.
won't. I mean,
Okay.
it's just. I mean, I'll pull from it whatever
Right.
for the interview, but for the video, no, I'll keep it in there. I love real conversations.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Okay.
we can talk about anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My last person, we started talking about near-death experiences, and I mean, we're talking about all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff
we could
here.
go
Yeah.
in lots of places.
Uh-huh.
So the mirror's here because I used to dance here a lot, and
Okay.
on Saturdays mornings especially, and I'd be, I have the red veil,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden there were two crows that would just be hanging out,
Wow.
there in the fence, just looking at me. That was so fun.
It seems to be two crows, right?
It's
always
two.
just two.
There seem to be a couple. They do mate for life, from what I've heard. I think. I'm no expert.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I think they do. So it's just, again, for me, that's like magical. And if I said, oh, these two crows like came and watched and maybe danced with me, it was so fantastic. Some people would be like, oh, okay. And others would be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So, I try and accept people as they are.
Yeah.
And I've certainly had a lot of people in my life that they think kind of mechanically.
Yeah.
But I find also they reach a point where I need something more, and they kind of don't know what it is. I'm like, you don't need to know what it is. You keep digging.
Yeah.
It's like digging for gold or something. I don't know. So yeah,
It's really nice. You've got the beautiful combination of the left brain logic and the right brain creativity. I feel like I'm like that too.
Yeah, I can see that with you.
I've got a good balance there, but I let myself play in both sides. And I'm just as cynical as I am a believer in this kind of stuff. Like I'll question the heck out of things. But I mean, life is just so strange as it is.
It's true.
It's a trip.
It's
a mystery.
trip.
And it's a total trip.
Okay, mystery is the main word that
Right.
comes to mind. It's even coding now. I couldn't believe how magical that was.
Really?
There's a little couple of phrases that you write to build a website in the old days when it first came out, and it says hello world, but you have to do HTML. You can, a browser is like Chrome or Safari or whatever. So you can take some kind of like a text editor and put this HTML with carets, and you do certain other characters and then put in quotes hello world, and you just drag it into your browser and it says hello world. When I did that the first time, I was like, oh my God, that's like magic. You mean this is a browser? You don't have to have a server somewhere to load it up. You can build the whole thing on your computer.
Wow.
And then I got really into it, and I thought, okay, this is very three-dimensional thinking. And that's when I started doing 3 dimensions.
I see.
Because I actually was able to start thinking and visualizing in 3 dimensions that I didn't really have before.
Yeah.
I was painting and drawing, and I was coding a lot, and it's kind of like matrices in mathematics. A matrix is a certain structure, and I find that you have to kind of think in a loop, and the way I was understanding it was like a 3-dimensional loop in space. I don't know how other people do it, but that was like, again, like some people think mathematics just existed, and we discovered it. It just existed, and I'm like, explain that to me, please, scientists, mathematicians, and I can't quite understand. But again, like coming back to the spiritual side of things, I mean, how can you not?
Right.
How can you not? How can you walk around and not be aware that there's like, even the bad stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, wish it wasn't there, but if we didn't have certain, like you said, the shadow self, if you don't have some of these big tendencies that make problems, let's say just for people to people, I wonder if the love would come in as strongly if we didn't have that. That's a big question. I just will never know. And
no, you'll know. You've known before, and you'll know again. This is,
right. Okay. I think as a little kid, I recognized certain things.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very strict Lutheran household. Sorry, Lutherans out there, but I saw as a little tiny kid a lot of inconsistencies with what they were claiming.
Yeah.
And what I saw, how especially grown-ups were acting.
Same, except mine was Catholic, Catholicism.
Okay, there's
Roman
some
Catholicism.
similarities.
Yeah.
I lived in a Catholic and Jewish neighborhood, and I was like the Protestant floating around.
Got it.
Taught me a lot there, and I questioned my father. Oops, I shouldn't have done that.
Same with me.
And I learned how to be quiet. Like, just keep it to yourself. You can still use your mind. I kept thinking, if I just keep this in my head and I don't say anything in my home, I can still have the freedom of thought, but I disagree. That's bigotry. And ironically, there's a drawing over there of a black woman. It comes from an album called Like Blue, Andre Previn. It was a beautiful album of jazz.
She's beautiful.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
So my dad, I grew up in West Philly, race riots.
Oh, wow.
My dad, sorry Dad, rest in peace, but you were bigoted. And I just couldn't understand how he loved jazz so much.
Wow.
And respected black musicians so much. And then he couldn't see that he was like holding blacks accountable for things that was unfair. So I drew it to get I was like, she's like a princess.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
And people would be like, oh, we don't have black princesses. Whoa, let's study Africa. Yes, you do. So, so I learned a lot about the shadow side, and I learned how to keep my mouth shut. My sister did not keep her mouth shut.
I was like your sister. I was the one
Did
that...
you get into trouble?
Oh,
she
yeah.
ran away.
Oh, yeah, I was a complete troublemaker. I've been on my own since I was 16.
Oh,
yeah.
That was my sister.
But
Did you go to high school? She quit high school.
No, I dropped out. Yeah. No,
Oh
so
my
I'm
gosh,
saying-
you're just
saying-
like her. Not really, because she got crushed by it, but you obviously did not.
I'm sorry.
So what did you
Well,
object to? And
I just couldn't keep my mouth shut either. And my dad is still around.
Okay.
And he's really grown up. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, good.
And
okay.
we have a good relationship now.
Yay.
But I was the one to challenge him.
Yeah.
And say, and I was the only one in the family to do that.
How many siblings you have?
I just have a younger brother and a mom who was, I thought was kind of wimpy.
Yeah.
And
they had to be.
Yeah.
I think in some ways.
Yeah. Subservient, and I thought I'll never be like that.
Yeah.
So, I got the brunt of it because I did have the mouth.
Okay.
And I was difficult because I was just highly rebellious.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, you were
something to be
exploring.
Exactly.
They called it rebellion, but you were like, wait a minute. You were observant. You didn't some of this doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Like, hold up, people.
Right.
And I wasn't as brave as you. I saw my sister she got kind of crushed. I won't go into it. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough times. And I just was like, I have to get out of here. I don't want to live in West Philly. I have to get out of here. And all I thought of was like, just do the best you can in school, and maybe you can go to college. Because my dad was willing to send me to college.
Yeah.
And it was shocking because my grandmother, not my real grandmother, not bio, told my father, you ruined the first child. She had a very high IQ, my sister. She said that to my dad, don't ruin this one. She could probably get into art school. She's talented and she's got the grades. And she lived in Rhode Island. So that's how I applied to RISD. We didn't have money. I didn't know how my dad was going to pay for it.
Yeah.
But he helped me pay for it.
Wow.
I was a waitress and he helped me pay for it. So he had some good sides. He
Yes.
was trying to help me, and we're all learning. Oh my God, life is so nuts. So.
And sometimes that inner critic that we were talking about, that fear of judgment and stuff, like ask it and observe it and say, whose voice is that?
Whose voice is that?
Because maybe...
Carrie.
Yeah.
I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
It was so ingrained in me to not be a rebel. Just go with the flow, and I carried that through my marriage and everything.
Yeah.
It's just like, but there's a part of me that's like, hold up. oh, wait a
Let the
minute.
wild woman loose.
Well, just like, I'm not an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, people, look at this. What are we doing? Oh my God, what are we doing? There's a better way. It's problem solving. It's, and you can problem solve with other people. Again, getting back to your foundation groups, those who dance together stay together.
Ooh, I love that.
I think that's true of
Yeah.
couples. There's a couple that I dance with in James's class, and they're married. And
Oh,
I
sweet.
said, "Are you guys married?" They were like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, the couple that dances together stays together." And they went, "Oh, yes, it's true."
Oh, that's great.
So I also think groups of people, art class.
Was that Stephen Kent? Is that the?
I actually don't know their names.
Oh,
I forget their names.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm so happy to talk to you.
I'm happy to talk to you too, and I see that rebellion a little bit in your artwork. I mean, it's
Okay, that's good.
It's pretty, but it's edgy.
Yeah, they're okay.
You know, and
people have said, "Oh, Susan, you've got a little edge to you, girl."
Yeah.
Okay.
Edge
that a
is
compliment?
good. Yes, it's a huge compliment in my
I
book.
have to learn how to really be fully. I don't even know if it means fully myself, but just come into my full being. If I, because I hesitate, I still pull back in many ways.
Yeah.
I'm not completely
Free of the self-judgment.
free of the self-judgment. So, but here I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like I've accomplished a lot, and
You sure have.
I really like this activity. It's like kind of special, right? To have the opportunity to slop around with paint and do, like, some people just are so easy. They just do it. They've been doing it. They just keep going. It so flows out of them. And others, you know, like, well, what do I do? I'm trying to bring my granddaughters in here and have them start, just mess around. And then if you want to make something.
Oh, look at the kitty.
Yeah.
See, that's my spirit animal right there.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. 100%. I have dreams of cats just all the time. But yeah, cats are my thing. Cats are my jam.
Well, they're very special animals too.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I got addicted to watching these two cats on Instagram.
Oh,
And I'm not.
well, send them to me.
I'm
I
not a
need
cat person, but
yeah.
I'm like, I watch those things. They're just, and they, they're animated. They're AI animated. They're cute.
Well, I love how you're talking about the crows having humor, because I think cats have that too. That you just they're just funny as hell.
Oh, for sure. Because a lot of my dance friends, almost all of my belly dance friends, and we had a troupe for a while. They all have cats, and I had a dog. I was like a dog person. Yeah, I was. I don't know if you can see, but I guess during my most intense inner world crow work, I did this one, and my mentor at the time just started laughing. He just said, "Oh, I see you have a sense of humor."
Yes.
Because he knows about my race riot. He was a black guy. He was a very well-known professor at Yale who took on some older artists who wanted to learn.
Cool.
He just Yale painting school's really up there, and he was the main teacher. Everyone knew about him, and he took on some of us older people. So he's the one that tried to get me released. He said, "Don't paint. Let's just do your charcoal. Just do charcoal. Just keep doing that." So that's he was the one that kind of got me to free up
What was his name?
what was happening inside me. So, yeah.
Do you remember his name?
Oh, yeah, Robert Reed.
Oh, okay, cool.
You can look him up. He passed away. He was so sweet and super gifted, brilliant man. And my friend said, "Oh, I have Robert Reed as my mentor." And I went, "Really?" And she said, "I'm going to show your work to him. You come."
Oh.
And so I did for a while until and I got in. He helped me get into New York Studio School
Oh,
for
okay.
a painting marathon, 2-week painting marathon. New York Studio School is also for craftsmanship, and he helped me get in there. And I had very little art experience.
Huh.
So I was lucky,
Yeah.
very lucky, and yeah. So you just keep on keeping on. The universe does work
It
sometimes.
does. Yeah, absolutely.
in your to your benefit.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Even though sometimes you're not sure it's to your benefit, you have a different opinion,
totally.
and it's like,
Do you ever have that where
Oh, yeah.
you're going and they're kind of like something's happening and like, should I do this? What's happening here? And then you find, oh, it's some crazy direction you're going into.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that if I'm going down the wrong path, doors keep closing. And I'm like, okay, I'm knocking on the wrong doors here. But as soon as
Right.
I'm on the right path,
It's a breath.
the synchronicities and it just rolls.
Yeah.
And I think with the foundation, I'm definitely on the right path.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, we're all volunteers, so it's not a money-making thing for me. It's just a passion for me.
Right. Right. But the thing is, money is such a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
But it's, kind of necessary. And I have found that with people I know, people I love, you're right. Like doors will close. It's so discouraging. You think you want to do this, and you just like I volunteered too in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And when people volunteer, and it's more in keeping with what they're about,
Mm-hmm.
money sometimes can come floating in.
Yeah.
Somehow,
Right.
and sometimes it's because it needs to. I'm hoping that you can raise a whole lot of money,
I will.
and then when people
Oh, I will.
discover, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a good leader,
Oh,
and I can see it.
you're kind. Yeah.
I can see that rebellious that you had.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna do something,
Mm.
and that's what it takes. It's a lot of work, and a lot of people feel the same way. So, yeah,
But it's worth it. I feel like it's really going to be worth it if we can help just.
it's so.
How
worth
people
it.
say that, oh, if we can help just one kid. I mean, but that's the truth, right?
But it is the truth,
Yeah.
because we know for a fact that one kid
Mm-hmm.
who has an opportunity, all of a sudden he's like famous baseball player,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
When I was teaching in makerspaces in Rhode Island, it was a very interesting, very difficult thing for me. I was a visiting teacher. I wasn't certified, so I didn't know about behavior management. I did my best. I had a group of Dominican Republic girls
Uh-huh.
who, on the first day of the summer camp I created, were sitting right next to me really close and was like, Miss Susan, my mama, she's a police officer, and she teaches us how, when we hear the pops happening, how to go to this wall
Oh, God.
on the other side. And I was like stunned. And then another one said, oh yeah, Miss Susan, my mommy, she teaches me how to do that too. Then there was a fourth one and a fifth one. And I'm getting like chills, because I was like, I'm not equipped to help them.
Right.
And then one of them did beadwork. She liked my little loom. I don't have that here, but her mom said, oh, she just loves to do these things. Just, that's all she said. I love, like, it takes her away from the worry.
Right.
And also,
So sweet.
I went
God.
to a middle school, and they asked me, I can't believe this happened. Mostly Dominican girls wanted to learn belly dance in the cafeteria. And
Uh-oh.
they let me do it.
Oh, how cool.
And I had to walk in and go, I know, I'm a white lady, and I've lost some of my coordination, but I was very coordinated.
Oh, I
then.
saw.
And we had a blast, and then COVID hit.
Oh.
So why I'm bringing that up is those girls they were so fun-loving. They were just like, they were kids. They just wanted to have fun doing something new.
Yeah.
And they were a little embarrassed, and I said, you don't have to, go too wild with your hips or whatever. You
Right.
have control. And they were just enjoying themselves, and they were safe there.
Yes.
But they weren't at home. And I had to break up fights I wasn't equipped to do that.
Fights between the girls?
A boy and a girl
Oh.
in one of my makerspace classes in the public library
Oh,
started
gosh.
she was really disruptive, and I felt so bad. I thought, I need to show her my Angela Davis book, and I never got a chance to because she was very rebellious.
Yeah.
And she wanted to disrupt my class, and this boy and she were fighting, and I had to go, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt bad. I didn't really know how to handle it. And again, my point is there's so many people that are under so much stress
Yes.
that we just can't even imagine unless you get into the thick of it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
your teachers are gonna get into the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it also trains your brain. Art making, music making. You start to think more clearly, I think.
Yeah.
It's my experience anyway.
Yeah. There's so many benefits. So many. We do a salsa class. I brought a salsa instructor, Fernanda, to ELM, which is Enriching Lives Through Music. It's a program in the Canal neighborhood
Yeah.
where 10 hours a week they have the kids come and they play ensemble music. It's incredible. But I wanted to bring to them, like, how do you feel the music in your body instead of just playing it? Like, where do you feel it, and having more of a somatic kind of experience with it. And they were kind enough to let us put together a 6-week pilot program, which we're doing. But the first time, the kids were embarrassed. So it's the same kind of thing. They were middle school, teenage kids, and they were a lot of giggling, a lot of self-consciousness. And some of the younger kids were doing it because they didn't get to that phase yet where, they're full of doubt. But I thought, oh, this is a barrier.
It is.
That I didn't expect. And, how to overcome. And it was boys and girls also. So I wonder if it would have been different if they had been separated. But
I think that's a possibility.
It is. But also,
I think that's a big possibility. I hadn't thought of that.
The kids are worried about being filmed too.
Right.
Because any little move you make, someone films and posts it. It's like.
Do you have to film them?
No, I don't. But just kind of in general. I mean, I think that kids.
Oh, I see what you're
aren't
saying.
Exploring growth because they, it's just they have a potential audience for anything that they're doing.
Right.
And you're already
look at
self-conscious at that age.
Look at what our cameras and social media has done.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, it's just, they just have to get to that breakthrough point where it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Because I really did not want to draw in front of anyone.
Right.
So going to college, my first year, there was freshman drawing. And we all sat in this big circle. And I was like, I froze. And I thought, these people come from like private school and they know how to draw. And
better than me, right?
And better than me. And they were really gifted, some of them, like it blew me away. And then you find out there's trust going on because we all felt the same way.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite time was when we were drawing the model, and then the teacher said, I'll get up and walk around and look at everybody's stuff. And we were like, oh my God, we're so different. We see the same thing in completely different ways.
Wow.
And then the ice was broken, and the teacher was critical to just go,
that's huge.
We're here the teacher's big. But yourself, you have to get over yourself. You have to go, do I want to do this? I really wanted to do this. I wanted to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And I did it in the privacy.
You couldn't not do it.
I couldn't not do it.
Yeah.
Which I still don't understand. But it's great. But you could do it in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can practice. And then that's what I used to do. I'd practice, do a good drawing, and then go bring it in and have it down on a table. Like, okay, I did that. And this one might be messed up, but I did that.
And a little proud of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's...
Exactly. And then you realize, oh, I'm having fun. Something's going to kick in.
Yeah.
So they just will have to keep at it.
Yeah. Oh, you're so lucky that you had those teachers.
I'm so lucky. I had so many good teachers. I went to a big private school in this West Philadelphia area. they were different. They were a little on the rebellious side for a did I say private school?
Uh-huh.
No, it was definitely not private. It was a big public school.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No.
No, I didn't even know private school existed at that time. They pushed me. They gave me opportunities. Oh my God, my math teacher taught me that I could learn. I was the only girl. No, there were 2 girls that learned how to code.
Oh.
Back when I was taking calculus, when I was I think I was 16.
So your sister isn't the only one with a high IQ.
I don't know.
I do.
I
mean.
Thank you. That's very nice. I worked really hard. I just wanted to see what I could do. I don't know. And those computers were as big as these buildings back in those days. So, yeah, he was really nice to do that. A lot of men, it was mostly boys in that calculus class, and so many men would have not pushed a girl to.
I wonder why that is. I mean, if boys are more naturally drawn to numbers, or if it just is a societal thing.
I think it's probably both.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Like boys are taught, you're going to be successful at this. I think there's a societal thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I had boys say, "What are you doing here?" And of course I go in. I don't know if I should have this but I went in my red hot pants and these tall black boots and a black sweater and long blonde hair. And I just was into fashion, and I walk in and none of the boys would talk to me, and I was so dumb. That might not have been the best thing to walk into class like that.
I'm here.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but they did try to squelch it. And when I went to NYU night school, all men except for 4 women, 2 women dropped out within a week. And this only other girl, she was young, she was really smart, really good at it, and me.
And that was coding also.
That was coding.
Yeah.
I was learning how to do front-end development.
Wow.
And I felt intimidated. And I went to the teacher almost at the end of the course. And I said, I think I can't do it. This JavaScript, I just don't, I feel like I'm so sorry. I think I have to go. I don't think I can do it. I was really upset. And he went, "What?" And I said, "I just don't get, you said, if I don't get JavaScript." And he said, "What did I say?" And he hardly said anything. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I finished
a good therapist, right?
Good therapist. If I hadn't finished that course, I don't think I would have had the jobs that I got, which helped me make money. I was a divorced mom at that point, and I needed to make more money.
Right.
If I hadn't had him support me,
or push you a little, push back,
push back, it was that confidence thing.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky to have these great teachers that really just,
I think you nailed it. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Like boys are more confident with it. They're not emotional or judging themselves, or
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I haven't answered that either because I have 3 sons, and they're very, very talented people. And I think a little my insecurity might have worn onto them. And I was like, that couldn't be. I think boys compete with each other so much, and they're kind of feeling bullied. But it was clear my kids could do certain things, mathematically especially.
Okay.
And all sorts of things. So...
are they artistic as well?
They are. I don't know if they all agree that they are. My middle son makes things like giant Legos.
Oh.
And my youngest son is a social worker.
Oh, good.
And he's got a very creative mind how he does that. I could say a lot about my sons. And my son Ben, who's been really helping me try to express myself more. He is in real estate. He's so into math. He takes math courses.
For fun?
For fun.
No.
And he works almost 7 days a week at this high-level real estate job using a lot of mathematics.
Right.
And so he's kind of gifted. And so is the other two gifted in math. Ben, I think, is highly creative, but in a different way, and I'm curious to see how he's going to use it. Because creativity is a funny word, right? It can be applied to all sorts of problem solving.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be visual.
Right.
And it doesn't have to always be the arts like music and dance. It can be other things.
It's funny, I'm taking a watercolor class.
Oh, you are?
For the first time
Yeah.
on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And I said to the woman sitting across from me, I said, this is so much problem solving.
Yes.
I mean, the whole thing is like, oh,
Oh,
I
the
just
whole
put that
thing.
color there and now I got to take it out. And what color should I, what should I do with this? And oh, I just ruined the
Lot of
nose. Or, I mean, you're
decisions.
just, you're,
It's constant decision making.
Yep.
Wait till you discover that what you think about watercolor isn't always what it actually is. I can give you hints about that. Like I was like, oh, you put water down and you have to put the watercolor and then it dries and then you can't go on top of it and it gets muddy and it's like, and then a teacher said, oh, wait a minute, just put the medium on the paper first. You like to use an eraser, put medium on the paper. Don't use the bumpy paper, use the smooth paper. And then get the watercolors out of tubes.
Yeah.
And you mix it how you want. You can put it thick, you can put it thin, and then let it dry. If you were like thinking, and then you can put little dabs of water on and then remove it with your brush.
Yes.
So, oh, you knew, I didn't know.
Well, no, the removal part. Yeah.
The removal part.
Is,
Like
is
you can,
the problem solving part for me. Yeah.
Right. So, but I didn't know. I kept thinking, oh, you just have paper and water and no way to remove it, like an eraser. Because I erase a lot. And that's that's what I love to do. I have
The
little
process.
tiny erases. Yeah,
working
process.
it out.
I find the light. I like erased all this right here. I was like looking for light spilling down like it does with the moon on leaves. So I loved using the eraser.
Finding the light through the
Finding
darkness.
the light through the dark.
Whoa.
We're getting deep. That's not unique to me. Many people say that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really fascinating.
Oh,
and
I'm glad. Me too. I love to hear your thoughts about all this.
Yeah,
stuff.
I feel like for someone who said that your son was helping you learn to communicate. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, he's a really good communicator.
You are a really good communicator.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you may not
Maybe
think
he's coaching me well.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this has been just such an enjoyable, easy conversation. It didn't
Thank
feel like
you.
it ever stalled out or you were lost for words or anything.
Yeah.
It just flowed
Thanks,
really nicely.
you too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a conversation between us.
It's a good
I think.
exchange. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
So.
I really appreciate your talking to me about this stuff because you're passionate.
Yes.
And I'm passionate.
Yeah.
And I don't always get the chance to talk to people about it. Not everybody wants to hear.
Right.
And most people haven't seen what I've done.
Yeah.
And a lot of my work isn't even here anymore.
Wow.
Which is nice. It's in people's houses. So
I love that you painted this dude and just found him and kind of brought him back to life even though he's dead, like in a way.
totally.
Yeah.
I was looking at this thing going, gee, like you were an individual.
Yeah.
This is a single skull of an individual horse that had probably a personality.
Yeah.
It's not like that's everybody. So I was trying to I don't know. It was just
It's cool.
and I listened to music
I was going to ask that.
when I was doing that whole series.
Yeah. What were you listening to? Do you remember?
No. But it wasn't, I don't remember. It was kind of rhythmical. And I remember erasing and drawing to the rhythm of it was just nice to be in my little world.
That's really cool. It has been nice to be in your world, and thank you for inviting me into it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm really looking forward to dancing and
Yes.
learning how to.
And you have 3 beautiful pieces of art in the auction coming up on Saturday,
Yeah.
May 9th.
Yeah.
And two beautiful,
Yeah, 3 prints
uh-huh.
that are kind of from that.
Exactly.
Yeah, from that group. And then 2, from different collections. There was a white collection and then the Ancients collection.
I love that one so much.
Yeah, I think I need to go back into that ancient mode.
Ooh. I can't wait to see what you do next.
All right, well,
Okay.
bye.
All right,
Nice
thanks.
to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Bye, Carrie.
Bye.